Welcome to These Kids Can't Wait, discovering the world of rare disease.
So, Dr. Martin, you mentioned that you're publishing a paper. When will that be?
We're currently working on certain critics that we kindly received from some authors that we appreciate that because it makes our paper stronger when we address those critics. So once we finish, we hopefully submit this paper right this week and wait for the journal to publish the paper. Although we already have a preprint of our manuscript online in medRxiv, and you can read everything about the condition and what we have done there at medRxiv. You look Beta-Mannosidosis, and there's our paper.
Awesome. And once it's published in the medical journals, do you think that's going to help with patient identification? And how do you find new patients to help?
Absolutely. Our intention on publishing this paper is basically to raise awareness of this condition, to tell people, hey, this exists. Help us to diagnose it. And our intention is this paper to go to all the people that could potentially see these patients. That means the first person that would see it's the primary care practitioner, but the second person that would see these patients are the neurologists. So we intend to focus this paper towards the neurologists to teach them and help them to identify all the patients that could have beta-mannosidosis and also put this diagnosis in the back of their minds to take into to help them to recognize the earlier symptoms or the weird symptoms that the patient might have. And oh, hey, I've heard about this. I believe that I read somewhere. I don't remember where, but I remember that I read that is called something called beta-mannosidosis. So now this doctor has the diagnosis in the back of his mind. And how we can find patients through the knowledge, educating people, educating the primary care providers. Uh, Although the primary care providers are amazing people that know everything about medicine because they are like the first person who see everything or anything that the patient could have, um, we have had really great experiences uh, teaching primary care providers about rare conditions because we have very cool histories about primary care providers that say, I didn't know what the name of this condition was, but for sure I know that this patient has something. And that's enough because it makes the primary care provider to take care of this patient, and he probably knows what to do with this patient and direct this patient to the physicians that will know exactly what to do for this patient. And once the neurologist, that probably is the first person that will see these patients with beta-mannosidosis, we immediately recognize that if there is something abnormal, and definitely we diagnosed earlier, or will diagnose more patients that we can, they will attract more patients, and definitely we would look after those patients and we can see their natural histories and we can see how the disease are with them, if it is severe or if it is mild, and we can gather more and more information about this condition. Okay. And also through the all these wonderful uh, parent associations, ISMRT, for example, all these associations of parents are amazing because if it weren't for them, we couldn't have gathered all those all this information about our patients with beta-mannosidosis, and now we are going after the study and we are going after the therapy. So it is amazing the job as a parent that you are doing until now. So I am really proud of you, and definitely you are doing a great job here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been quite the learning process as well.
So, to our listeners out there, Angela mentioned the ISMRD, and that stands for the International Society of Mannosidosis and Related Diseases. And, just for a little bit of context here, it's an organization that covers 9 glycoprotein disorders. Beta-Mannosidosis is one of those. And this organization has been instrumental in connecting beta-mannosidosis families. So just a little context there as well. I joined the board of the ISMRD in 2022, and Erin and her husband joined in 2024. So it's been a really wonderful way that we can help, strengthen our patient population and advocate for this disease.
Now, I had a question for Dr. Martin. For those patients who were diagnosed years ago and were told by their neurologists and doctors that there is no treatment, how do you connect with them and reach out to them?
The biggest help that we can receive in trying to connect with them are from the physicians. That's the first step, since the physician knows better these patients, knows the people who under their care who has beta-mannosidosis. So the best thing that they can do is, if they want to look after a potential treatment or how to treat them, what the physician does is to look on the database, medical database, and probably they would find some information. And that's why we are working hard on publishing this information. We want to make it available to all the physicians, because it is a physician that he usually goes to the database and look, okay, who knows about this, because I don't know. So if that physician finds that there is someone who knows about that, they will communicate by email. And nowadays we have a great amount of methods to communicate each other, even if you're in the other side of the planet. You just a simple email. Yeah, you say, hey, I know that you have written this paper, or you're a co-author of this paper, and I have a patient with beta-mannosidosis. Hey, I can help you because I know about that, because our lab knows about that. So the main work is towards the physicians.
I Googled beta-mannosidosis treatment not too long ago, and I was really excited to see that AI in that Google search brought up the Lost Enzyme Project and information on you and the project. And so I think that's pretty cool.
And we want to help get the word out too. We want to find more patients. We want to help more people. Um, so let us know if there's anything we can do. If there's physicians we can reach out to let them know about the study and the potential treatment. And it's just it seems so daunting to reach out to everybody, all the physicians out there.
As a matter of fact, one thing that the parent does when his or her child has been diagnosed with a rare disease is going to Google and trying to find out if there are other patients or if there are other parents that know about this, because you feel lost. No, okay, nobody knows about this. Even my primary care provider doesn't know about this. So who knows? Who else know about this? So usually parents go to the Google and looking for parents, not looking for doctors, looking for parents who know about this. And what you're doing with the Lost Enzyme Project is amazing for parents and amazing for people who doesn't know anything about beta-mannosidosis. And I can tell you for sure that many parents of children with any rare condition would need someone who explain them, not as a physician explains, but how a parent understands the condition. Parent associations, parent efforts on spreading knowledge about the condition are extremely important, because every single parent that has a child with a rare condition needs support and needs knowledge. And many times the best source of knowledge from the parents themselves, not from the physicians. Many times.
So I completely agree with that. We were told a little bit about beta-mannosidosis when Skylar got her diagnosis, but I didn't quite comprehend the magnitude of it until my first call with Laurel. Laurel reached out to me, and
Yeah, well, and it was the ISMRD. It flagged that there was a family that had identified, a new patient in our system, and you guys had left your contact information, and so I was able to reach out to you, and that was really the beginning of everything that we've done so far and of the Lost Enzyme project. Um, yeah.
yeah, and it's when I talked to Laurel that I really understood, how this condition was going to impact our lives, how it was going to impact Skylar, and that we needed to be more involved.
And just for our listeners out there, beta-mannosidosis is a progressive disorder. So what we're seeing in our children is always changing. And we kind of are always having to shift how we do things, what adaptive equipment we need, therapies we need. It's this evolving thing all the time. And that's something I feel like we don't talk about enough. Just, how progressive disease is different than, a diagnosis where, you've got hearing loss, but it's going to stay the same, right? We're dealing with something a little bit different.
Thank you. Now, in 2025, the World Symposium is coming up. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and why it's important for this project?
Yes, the World Symposium is an annual meeting where the people from every corner of the world comes to the U.S. And that those people are the people who work on lysosomal storage disorders. They can work on lab, they can work on patients, they can do clinical trials, they do everything around lysosomal storage disorders. So this symposium, this congress is made to uh, spread the word and spread the knowledge about the current knowledge on lysosomal storage disorders. It is really important and really exciting for us to go there because we can meet new friends, we can meet old friends, but also we can know what is going on in the world of lysosomal storage disorders. This is amazing, and also this is an incredible opportunity to know more about current treatments, current technologies, studies that are undergoing for potential treatments. So we can know, hey, I have this group of patients with certain condition. I am looking for clinical trials. I am looking for potential treatments, alternatives. Oh, I have this patient that has been so difficult to treat, and I don't know what to do. So they are in this meeting. There will be the right person that you would find to have those answers to your questions. For us and Kimone's lab, it is the opportunity to spread the word about beta-mannosidosis, to let more people, not only physicians, but also researchers about this condition, to receive information. People could help us and telling, hey, I've been working with this, maybe you could apply this technology. Probably people who would say, hey, I didn't know about this. Hey, that's great to know a little bit more. Or even people that would say, hey, I am interested in working with this disease. That will happen with JCR. Hey, but we are trying to find a treatment for this condition. And they said, yeah, we want to work with you. So doing networking is also uh, is done at the World meeting. So it is a very important meeting for us.
Yeah, those connections sound very important. Laurel, tell us how World has helped us in the past.
So World was a game changer for the Last Enzyme project. I mean, we would not be here now without World. I was a representative of the ISMRD in the 2023 World, and during that conference, I had the amazing opportunity to meet with JCR for a different disease that the ISMRD represents. And I had this wonderful connection with the US vice president of the company. And he was so gracious and kind and interested. Um, it really, it's a different feeling when you feel like someone actually gets the depth of where you're at with this disease and how devastating these progressive illnesses are, with your children and with your family members. And we just had this amazing connection. And that was the start, right? That was the start of having this connection and having someone who cared and who understood, what we were facing with this incredibly rare disease, under researched, no treatment. And as it just so happened, as that connection happened, I had made this connection with Virginia Kimonos, and she was at World. And so there was this opportunity to connect these two people, right? Connect JCR with Kimono's lab. And here we are. We've come so far from that 2023 World, to be where we're at now. But looking back, wow, what an incredible experience. That was the first time I met you, Angela. And I was just thinking about this because we've come so far and there's been so much that's happened. But looking back, I'm trying to synthesize exactly the steps, and it doesn't matter how it all happened, but it was the first time I met you. And I think what had happened is that Virginia, this was on her radar and your radar because of Dean, because Dean was diagnosed. And so you guys were doing work on Beta-Mannosidosis. And then we had been in touch. And it was the first opportunity that I had to meet you there. And I was so moved. I think I started crying when I met you. I think I did. I think I started crying because I was so grateful that finally someone cared, and to have multiple people care and then be able to work together. It was like, getting all the smart people, and the people that had the power to create this treatment and to create change. All of a sudden you guys were together, and it was just overwhelming to think that we have hope. We have real hope now. But yeah. Do you remember meeting me? Do you remember that?
Yes. It was in 2023.
Okay.
And you were so moved. And, you're working with Beta-Mannosidosis.
Yeah, verklempt. I tear easily, but this was one of those moments where I feel like it was, the tears were very appropriate. So this kind of moves us into our next segment, I think, just talking more about the treatment and the families and what keeps you motivated. So I'm really curious. You spend a lot of time in the lab. So what does a typical workday look like for you, and what do you enjoy doing most in the lab?
Well, a typical day includes a certain time on the desk, solving emails, answering questions, and planning for the meetings of the day if there are meetings. And then after that, I go to the lab. We usually plan our experiments over the week, because some experiments take 1 day, but others could take even 3 or 4 days in a row. So we need to plan beforehand. And if that day I start to do one experiment, okay, I prepare everything. I usually have help from the undergraduate students And so they help me to prepare all the reagents, all the tools that I might need for that time. And I spend the whole day doing the experiments. I have a very short time to eat sometimes the lunch, but I always do my lunch because it is important. And then I leave the reagents, the old experiments going on until the following day, where I continue the experiment. And in the meantime, when I have spaces to do, I go back, read some papers, answer some emails. Probably if I have questions about anything, I go to my boss, in this case, Dr. Jimenez, ask her questions, and go back to the lab. More or less, it's like that. I usually go to the lab at between 8 and 9 a.m., but sometimes I never know when I go out because sometimes the experiments can be longer than expected. So I have gone home around 8 p.m., but you never leave an experiment at the half of the process. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't happen like every single week I have to go home at 8 p.m. No, it doesn't happen like that. But you feel that you're not working. And I feel so lucky about that. I don't feel like I am working. I feel like I'm just having a good time.
Last time I was at the lab visiting, one of the lab techs had packed up and gone home, and we went to go observe the mice. And one of the mice had given birth to a new litter of pups. Is that what they're called? Pups? And we had to call, what was her name again? It starts with an A. What's her name? Is it
Alia.
Alia? Okay, so we had to call Alia, and Alia had to come back to the lab to separate the older litter from the smaller litter, and it just seemed really tedious and time consuming, and she's like, "That's just what we do, you know? This is our job. This is what it entails." So it was really interesting, kinda watching that process.
Mhm. That is one thing that I love the most of lab working because every single day is different. I mean, it's not like, oh, every single day I do the same thing or the same experiment. No, every single day is totally different. So you can do one experiment one day. Maybe you need to repeat it again. So you need to redo everything. And sometimes it's the the bad thing that okay, it didn't work, I do it again, now I need to analyze what I did wrong. Or yeah, it worked, what I did right, so I need to analyze what I did right. And today I had to do work with the cells, and tomorrow I need to take care of the mice. I need to separate pups, and today I need to write the paper. So every single day is different, and it's really fun. And having a great team working with you is what makes my job the best. I love the people I work with.
I love your team. They're all so nice.
Does knowing the families and knowing more about the children with beta-mannosidosis change how you feel about your work?
I feel proud in terms of, wow, I am doing a very important job, but also it's a huge responsibility because it's you're not working for a boss, you're not working for a salary, even you're not working for a Nobel Prize, you're working for the families, you're working for looking after the treatment to bring happiness and bring a healthy life for those patients that are suffering. So that's the huge responsibility. You are committed to. I mean, you are not forced. You are committed to do your best towards a great result. And if you need to do it twice, thrice, you need to do it many times to have the best work. You are eager to do that because you don't feel like you're fulfilling a requirement, or you're working, as I told you, you're not working towards a salary. You're working because you love this, even though sometimes it doesn't work as well as you want to. Sometimes it doesn't work. You don't get the results at the first time, and it happens so many times. And sometimes you get discouraged because you're not having results, but you're keeping working, you're keeping going, because you have a higher purpose, and it's bringing happiness to the patients and bringing happiness to their families. And as I told you, it's a huge responsibility as well.
We appreciate everything you're doing and all your hard work. It means so much to us.
Thank you.
What's one thing that you'd like people to take away from this conversation about beta-mannosidosis, or, rare disease in general?
Um, Rare diseases shouldn't be considered as an aliens or as a weird things or a ethereal things, because it could happen to anyone. If you consider one single rare disease, it's extremely rare. Maybe many physicians wouldn't see one in their entire working lives. But if you take all the rare diseases together, there are a huge amount of people that suffer on that. So those little things that you can do for those kids, if you're a caregiver, if you're a parent, or if you're a physician, or if you're a researcher, those little things that you can do for them are huge things, are huge, um, huge things that you can do for them. You can read more, you can know more, you can help more for each and every kid with rare disease, or even a big person, a grown old person with rare disease, with a rare disease. You can do
Absolutely.
so little things, small things that can be a huge difference for them.
And how can our listeners support rare disease research, and specifically support the research that you're doing?
Um, there are many, a couple of things. The first thing is that if you know someone that has a rare disease, encourage them to look information on the websites, but not the information that goes on TikTok, but that information that goes from reliable sources, you know. But look after the parents, look after the associations, the disease associations, look after databases, reliable databases about those conditions. Okay, educate yourself. Yeah, read about that. So look after support of the parents. You know, if you know someone who has beta-mannosidosis, tell them that there is an ongoing project it's called the Lost Enzyme Project, where it is built for by parents for parents, and also they can support the research on this condition. And even if it is not beta-mannosidosis, if you get into contact with you as parents that belong to the Lost Enzyme Project, you can put into contact to other parents that might share those experiences, or the experiences that you have with a child with a rare disease. Um, Also, we are looking for funds to keep going on this research. As a lab, we depend on funds, we depend on grants, we depend on different sources of money to support our research. Research costs money, and we are looking for support. If you are able to donate for this cause, we would be very grateful, because we can go forward, and we are every single day doing our best effort. So if you can, if you're listening to us, if you can support us, if you can support this project, we will be very grateful, and we can go doing our best work that is in the lab.
Yeah. And we want to keep the work going. Dr. Martin, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your incredible work. It's inspiring to hear about the progress being made in such a challenging field. And the families of these children are so grateful for your hard work, and we hope you can feel the gratitude from across the country.
Thank you. I feel very honored to have to be here sharing this experience with you, and it has been a really wonderful experience.
Thank you. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please subscribe and leave us a review. To learn more about Dr. Martin's work and beta-mannosidosis, you can check out the links in our show notes, and you can also make a donation to keep the work moving along. Until next time, stay curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on These Kids Can't Wait. Every story shared brings us one step closer to awareness, advocacy, and action. If you've been inspired, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode.
To learn more about the Lost Enzyme Project or donate to the cause, you can visit our website, Instagram, or Facebook page. Those links will be provided in the show notes below. Thank you again, and remember, these kids can't wait, but together, we can make a difference.